Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 34 of my making podcast. My name is Marlene, and on this channel, I like to share about my handmade wardrobe, about me making my own clothes while knitting, sewing, and spinning my own yarn. I do regular podcast episode, and this one's also going to be one of those where I share about what I've been working on and what I am planning on working on soon, and also what I've finished, and then sometimes how I've been styling it. And then I also share about my traveling, my sourdough bread baking, and my reading quite regularly. And I have a format that is more vloggy kind of. So if I'm kind of taking the camera along for a day or even longer, I've done Vlogmas, stuff like that. In this episode, I am sharing what I am wearing, so what I've recently finished, knitting and sewing wise, a bit about my whips and how they've been going. And then at the end, I would like to share a bit about the books I'm reading and a bit about my experience participating in Me Made May for the first time. So let's get started. You can follow me on Instagram or on Ravelry. You can also support the channel via Ko-Fi. And now really, let's get into what I'm wearing. I'm wearing my Esther jacket by Petite Knit. We'll see how long I can actually keep it on because it is getting warmer and warmer here in Germany. And this is not a very seasonal finished object, but since it is finished and since I can keep it open, I only have like a racer back top underneath. It is wearable for the moment here. I've made a size medium and I've used about 830 grams of a sport weight held double. That sport weight yarn was a 50-50 kind of virgin wool and alpaca yarn mix, and it was from a project here in Germany that tried to use wool that was no longer kind of wanted, that wasn't used for making yarn for knitting, because first of all, for the yarn, most of the time people found it too scratchy, wasn't kind of the merino, very soft yarn a lot of people want to knit with. And so the company was called Raincloud and Sage. They are no longer. The woman who was running the business had decided to go a different direction. But yeah, there's quite a few companies now in Germany that try to have kind of this very sustainable approach to yarn creation, and I really love making clothes with them. At the end, I decided on some really dark wooden toggle buttons that we sell at the shop. They were super inexpensive. I think I paid about like 3 to 4 euros for 5 of them. And yeah, I decided to go with the dark one in the end because I thought the higher contrast was a bit more modern than the lower contrast wooden ones. But yeah, it was not very easy to decide. But then I also thought it's buttons. If I ever decide that I want some other buttons on this cardigan, I can relatively easily swap them out. It's a very easy modification to make, really. Talking about a few of the mods, like I said, I made size medium, but for the arms, I actually cast it on for size small. So judging from the pictures that I saw, the sleeves were quite wide. And so the thing is, I wanted this to be a jacket that I could easily wear over another woolen sweater. So if it's like relatively cold autumn day or in the winter even, for this to really be a jacket, not just a cardigan. So I wanted to have quite a bit of positive ease. I haven't kind of taken the measurements because I just blocked it. Love the way it came out. It really relaxed in blocking, but I was kind of gauging or calculating that I should get around 20 centimeter of positive ease with the size that I picked. And yeah, I haven't checked if that is true, but it kind of feels like it. So this is where my body ends kind of, and then I have about this much on either side, and it is gaping open a bit. So I think it feels quite close to 20 centimeters. But yeah, the sleeves seemed quite large, and so what I did is just pick up the sleeve stitch count for the size smaller, and then decrease down at a similar rate than what she described. I'm not sure if I followed her descriptions to the T, but at the end I decreased down to the exact same stitch amount that she ended up with for a size small, and then did a ribbing and a tubular bind off. I did a tubular bind off for all of the kind of bind offs on this cardigan, and I did it relatively tight. So the sewn bind off, the Italian bind off, I did relatively tight because I have found that with another cardigan with the wool is a lot softer and it has suri in it, but it has been kind of like on the bottom of the cardigan, it has kind of lost its shape a bit, and that might also have been from me not doing the tubular rows before this, the setup rows. I'm not sure if I actually did them there, but I thought I rather have it be a bit kind of scrunched in the beginning and then relax over time than for it to be perfect in the beginning and then kind of lose its shape over time. So I'm really happy with it. If I do button up this kind of the highest one of the buttons, like the one on top, it is very fitted. I don't think it's going to be something that I'm gonna do often. It is very tight around my neck, like it doesn't hurt or anything, but it is relatively tight. So I don't think I'm gonna button this one a lot of the time. No, I can't get it open again. Yeah, I followed the pattern for like button bands and everything to a T, which I found very relaxing as I didn't have to think about it too much. The one thing I wanted to say is that if you're doing the tubular bind off, on a lot of these panels, I felt like it started with a purl stitch, which then had you, and that is how I learned to do the Italian with starting with a purl, is that I first, I kind of start in the middle of the like repeat that you're doing in an Italian bind off. So I kind of act as if I had already knit off the first stitch, and then I go into the second stitch, purl like purlwise, and then purl off the first one, and then do the regular repeat. So I didn't think that she really explained that at all in the pattern. She just went like, well, now do the Italian bind off, and I'm like, well, it's not very like common for an Italian bind off to start with a purl, and I didn't find a lot of great resources on that, so I might need to put that into my Ravelry project as well. But yeah, that is one thing that I realized making this project. And another modification or something that kind of came from me being a bit lazy is that when I was knitting, first I knitted the back panel, and before moving on to some increases for the armholes, you're supposed to knit to, let's say, I don't know, I think 20 centimeters. I don't think I'm giving away too much by saying that. And I was at 19.5 centimeters when I was at the end of my chart. And I was stretching it a bit, and I was getting 20 centimeters while stretching. And I thought, oh, it's going to be so easy to memorize where I had to, or where I would need to end on the front panels as well if I'm just ending at the end of my chart. Obviously, I know, and that is what you did like throughout the whole garment then, is that you're starting at the beginning of the repeat again. So it wasn't a question of me not knowing how to do it. It was just a question of I'm like half a centimeter short, but if I'm like tugging at it, I'm fine. And it's very convenient to end this part at this exact, like at the end of the chart basically. So I regretted that because the armhole isn't very deep at all anyways, which I quite like, but I was then steam blocking it before, or when I had just connected under the sleeves, and I was a bit I feared that it would just be a bit too tight. So now I have quite a bit of space under here, which positively or probably comes from the fact that I added 8 stitches. So because this is a kind of like a linen, is it moss stitch? I think it's moss stitch. You would have to add 2 stitches if you want to stay in pattern. So I added 2 stitches here and here, and then on the other side as well. So all over the kind of cardigan panel, I added 8 stitches, which then meant that I just had a bit more space. I don't know if in the end, if I hadn't done this, it would have come out hideously wrong and wouldn't fit at all. I don't think that that would be true. I think because of the weight that this cardigan also has, it pulls down after like finishing, like knitting all of it, it pulls down the armhole a bit more even. So that was just something I wanted to note. So it began with me being a bit too lazy, and then me coming up with ideas of how to change it. Melanie, my boss at the shop, she actually helped me kind of figure that out, and like I said, steam blocking it, thinking a bit about it, and I'm really happy with how I then kind of fixed that problem that I created for myself. But yeah, these are all the modifications. If you've got any more questions about this cardigan, I am in love with it. I think it is beautiful. It is one of my favorite things I've ever made, and I know podcasters already like always say that about their just most recent finished object, and I feel about that a lot of the time. But you know, when you finish something that is just kind of timeless but also super special, and right now I'm not very much in the mood for just like super plain stockinette things, and like kind of, I don't know, it's just a special thing. I'm super happy with how it turned out, where it hits me. I had been going through some of the Ravelry pages and seeing how many kind of these motifs people had, so I was able to count on the pictures. The same with the arms. I think I got 8 of these motifs on the sleeves, and that is half a motif on top and half on the bottom. And that is perfect for my arm size. I did the ribbing the same length that I did it on the body. I'm not sure, I think it is the recommended 7 centimeters or something. And then in the body, I'm not sure how many there are, but it starts with like a half motif as well. And then I think I did about a half motif less than Petite Knit does, because she oftentimes knits to kind of a full length. And because for me, I oftentimes wear high-waisted bottoms, I feel like making it a tiny bit more cropped just fits better. But as I said, I wanted to film a few close-up and a bit of B-roll and put it in, so you were probably already able to see kind of how it sits on my body. Which brings me to my next finished object. Also, what I'm wearing is my Archer work pants. This is a sewing pattern by Machi Machi Sewing Club, who I've found are some of my favorite, it's like one of my favorite sewing indie label. I've made their weekend short pants now and the Archer work pants, which were both on my wish list for a long time of like sewing things to make. And now that I've made both of them, I think they're really well written, and they're, I wouldn't say easy to understand, like you have to have some idea of what you want to do, but they're not overly complicated. They are really straightforward. They have great like explanations. I wasn't sure if they had it in the weekend short pants, but in the Archer work pants, they actually had the centimeter like amounts in brackets as well, which was so helpful. As I have said these last couple of videos, I'm not very familiar with inches and all of that, so it's really easy for me, a lot more easy to say, okay, I need 1.3 centimeters to like as kind of seam allowance or something. So I've made these in the Purl Soho Daily Linen in Warm Clay, which was kindly gifted by Purl Soho as fabric support, I guess, for this linen that I now got to work with. It is beautiful. Like I said, I'm very thankful for them to have gifted this to me. The front pockets on this finished object are the one thing that I don't think I have kind of mastered. They're not level. I don't know what happened, but the one is like 2 to 3 centimeters higher than the other. But that is actually the only thing that didn't go relatively perfect. So I'm very happy with how my sewing skills are improving with every single project that I'm doing. Another thing is that they're relatively short. I wanted some cropped pants, but these are even a bit more cropped than I thought they would turn out to be. And that is because the pattern was designed, like the length is for a 165 centimeter tall person, and I'm 169. So they're going to be about 4 centimeters shorter on me, which also you can tell from where my knee darts sit. So when I will sew them again, which I for sure am planning to, maybe in a more thicker fabric for more of like an autumn appropriate pant, I'm going to put in these like 4 and even maybe 5 or 6 centimeters on the allocated point in the pattern to lengthen them a bit. I think because they have this like warm clay color and are very like in a linen fabric, they are so well suited for summer and spring, just styling, even autumn. But like if it's getting very cold, I think my legs would be very cold, and I don't know if I would like for like a lot of my leg, like my skin showing. I think it would get quite cold. So yeah, I haven't tried styling them with like boots or anything, but for now they're perfect as they are, even with the small imperfections that I kind of built in myself. But yeah, I'm really chuffed with them. I've never knitted darts. Actually, my next project I'm planning has bust darts, but I've never made any kind of adjustments like knee darts and kind of a gusset. So this wasn't just a front and a back or a right and left side leg panel. It has a gusset, and I think that is a fantastic construction. And yeah, like I said, it was just very well kind of explained, designed, and yeah. I think that is all for my Archer work pants by the Matchy Matchy Sewing Club. Again, thank you to Pearl Soho for giving me this wonderful linen fabric. My works in progress. Well, let's start on a positive note. I'll share a bit more about my frogging experiences that I had mentioned the last time we talked. But first of all, I am finally doing the camisole number 7 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. I only casted this on today. I actually had casted this on before about 2 years ago. So let's talk about it. I did a crochet provisional cast on for this. I actually learned this skill in another project that is a secret. It is secret for now, test knit that I'm doing. I will probably be sharing a bit more about this test knit next episode. It's not a super big secret, but since the designer hasn't yet publicly talked about it, I'm going to wait on talking about it as well. So yeah, camisole number 7 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. I'm knitting this in the Mercy by Fulkalana. I've had this pattern and this yarn to make this camisole for probably 2 years. This also explains why I'm actually still planning on making a camisole by My Favorite Things Knitwear. It is, I think, from 2019. The size range is less than ideal. I think it only goes up to 120 centimeter bust. Yeah, which I think isn't enough. I have commented this on the pattern page. I have texted her before. She has, I think, pledged to be better about the size ranges. And with her more recent patterns coming out, especially the winter ones, I think like pullovers and such, she has been better. Like, don't quote me on that, but I think she's publicly like talked to the issue, but she hasn't fixed this issue in her older camisole patterns, which I think is a shame because I don't think there is a range or like a limit to bodies that should be able to wear camisoles. And unfortunately, I really do love the look of her camisoles. So I have decided, because I already bought the pattern and the yarn to go together, that I'll be making this. But I am going to link, if you're not yet bought the pattern, if you're wanting to make something similar, Simone from Rust Knitwear, she has a similar looking top that, like I said, if I hadn't already paid for this pattern, I would have rather went on and bought her L top. I think they look similar-ish. And so, yeah, if you're wanting to get a size inclusive pattern, I'm pretty sure that Simone's pattern all are size inclusive. So I think that would be a good option. So yeah, I hope I've kind of said everything about this. Like I said, I have already casted this on before. I had gauge swatched so long ago that the gauge swatch already lives in my swatch bag. And I kind of made that last winter. So if that doesn't tell you everything about this project, I don't know what does. It is a textured summer knit, and this is a perfect segue into the knit along that I am co-hosting with two of my knitting friends, Marla and Lydia. All of the information are going to be linked in a highlight on my Instagram account and on their accounts. I'm going to link to their accounts, and I'm just going to put the basic like information in the description box as well. It kind of came up the way it always does. Like with Lydia, I had hosted a couple of knit alongs already. We kind of like to do that, but this one actually came up when I was talking to Marla about it, and then we also asked Lydia to join. So the three of us now are hosting the Textured Summer Cow. And yeah, it came about with the peacock tee that I was recently knitting, and then was talking to Marla about it. She also wanted to make it, and I'm like, well, if you're doing that and I'm gonna make the palm tee, and then we can be kind of matching, we kind of picked out the same yarn. Well, this is what my palm tee looks like at this moment in time. I'm going to talk about it a bit later, but yeah, we both wanted to work with the Alfama by Husarios Quattro, and her peacock tee is finished now. I think Lydia is like this close to finishing hers, so we can all be matching, and you might like to kind of match us as well. So any textured kind of summery-ish knit is welcome. Is a very casual knit along, though there are 3 prizes. There are going to be gift cards to the yarn shop I work at, to Strickverliebt. Lydia is sponsoring the knit along with her most recent summer knit pattern. If that, like when that comes out, the winners can get a copy of that. And then Marla is actually also, apart from what she does in her like main job and then working at the yarn shop as well, she is a stitch marker designer, and she does mini macrame stitch markers, and they are amazing. And so she's also sponsoring the cow. So we've got some really great prizes. We're doing it over on Instagram. Like I said, relatively casual. I've cast on 1,000 times trying to make the palm tee. It's not going to happen for now because I can't be arsed to do it again, and it just frustrated me too much. But the camisole number 7, I'm having quite a good feeling with this. This is going to my knitting circle meetup with me, and I'm hoping that I don't mess it up. So yeah, getting into this dilemma, my frogged palm tee. I don't know why I didn't frog the rest of it yet. Possibly because I was too sad to do it. As I probably mentioned, I was focusing relatively monogamous. Like I had one like primary whip a few weeks just because I didn't have the bandwidth to do all that kind of preparing for my sewing projects, and because you need to kind of stretch a few different like muscles in your brain. I don't know how to explain it, but I just didn't have the same bandwidth for knitting that I had maybe at a different time. And so I was concentrating on this Esther jacket also because I wanted to get it done. And I thought if I'm focusing more on like a few projects than all of them, I could get that done more easily. But then also the like feeling of really wanting to make another summer knit and like knitting a bit more seasonally came to mind, and I bought the Alfama at the shop and really wanted to cast on. And then I might have, like, we also had a knit night at the shop and I might have cast on like 2 or 3 times. Actually, Melanie's kid asked me if like I was wanting to get this over my head, and I was like, yeah, sure. And then I tried it on and it wasn't fitting over my head, and so I recast on a couple of times because I just couldn't get it like to be stretchy enough. Then actually Marla cast on for me once, and it was a whole ordeal. I actually tried this method where you do short rows to kind of get the nicer looking side of the rib to the outside, which I hadn't done before, but so many people kept like talking about it. So with this yarn, I felt like my knit stitches were actually pulling quite wide. So I tried to do it. I don't know what happened, but I recast on quite a few times. Then I did the short rows. I moved on to the pattern. And first of all, I think there is a couple of mistakes in the pattern. The designer, Lena Homosamso, she describes a backward loop increase, which what she then writes isn't a backward loop increase, but more so a knit front and back to increase stitch count. So that was a bit kind of difficult to understand, like what was she meaning to say the one thing or the other. So there were a few like small mistakes like that. And then with the chart as well, the one chart had like 2 signs like on the first and the last stitch, but they meant that you were supposed to kind of do this thing that the pattern asked you to do on like 2 stitches, which then meant that you were only knitting 3 stitches in between, although there were 5 that were shown in the chart. It was really difficult to explain, but then I went through a couple of Ravelry patterns as well, and I think Venetia from the Woolly Worker, she described this like a similar thing, that she realized that what this meant. So when I read her notes on it, it helped me understand what I had like run into. So I was seeing that there was a mistake and I was trying to fix it, but her notes helped me realize that what I was trying to fix was actually, so I was going the right direction. But then I was knitting. We had quite a stressful evening at the shop. We had like a special event and I was just knitting a bit on it, and I'm not sure if at that point in time I kind of created again a mistake for myself and put in one too many yarn overs on one of the rounds. But about a day like later, yesterday, I realized that I had one too many yarn overs on one of the repeats. So that created one too many stitches. And I was just wondering like what to do, because that could have turned out to be like up to 20 more stitches for the pattern. That would have been too much. So I ripped back. But when I ripped back, I couldn't figure out where was the pattern repeat anymore. I tried so hard. And then the frustration just took over. So all of that to say, I decided for now to put this pattern away. It has just frustrated me too much. It's not to say that it's not a great pattern. It looks fantastic. To the viewer who has kindly gifted me this pattern, thank you so much. And I feel so bad for not knitting it now. Like I said, it's not to say that I wouldn't ever knit it. I'll just need a break with it. I still love the look of the pattern, and even though there are a few small mistakes that I have found. And I've actually now bought a new pattern from Lena, and like I said, I love the peacock tee, but I've immediately found another mistake on the first page of that other pattern. So I'm gonna send her this feedback and hope that in the future she might kind of get someone to proofread, especially the English translations. There's like a really obvious small mistake. I think it's size the pattern, the plain yoke tee. Yeah, and it says cat instead of can't, or what instead of won't, or something like that. So it's just it's just a tiny mistake, but it doesn't make reading the pattern a very pleasant experience if you're running into mistakes. You feel like you're the proofreader instead of being the person who is paid for the pattern full price or been gifted it. So to the viewer who's gifted this to me, thank you so much, and thank you, and sorry for kind of not getting my stuff together and knitting it right this second. Things like this happen, and I have decided to not put myself down for it, but instead trying to, with this yarn, possibly knit the plain yoke tee by Lena Holmer Samsø, just because I've seen a friend and a co-worker of mine knit this recently. And I think, though I want to concentrate on the textured summer knits for now, it'll be a nice linen summer t-shirt that I can actually very easily incorporate with lots of my outfits. So I need not a lot of, but a few more easy t-shirts, summer knits. And sometimes I do want plain stockinette, contrary to what I said in the beginning of the podcast. But yeah, that is the whole dilemma. I hope to be able to put in all the things that I said and mentioned about me kind of finding mistakes in the pattern, so that you will not have to figure them out for yourselves. Where is my... I think that is actually one of the best things about Ravelry, helping each other out, finding mistakes, and then kind of that's why I'm trying to be good about making notes on my projects. I'm not the best at it, but I very much appreciate notes, helpful notes on Ravelry project pages. So I'm trying to do the same thing. So my next work in progress that I have frogged a few times, but is now on a good way, is my traveler shawl. I have this in a Pajouta. I'm not sure how to pronounce this, I'm sorry, but this is a hand embroidered bag from a maker, and I got this gifted as a birthday present by Melanie, and I love it. So it's a very special project and a very special project bag. This is very special because I'm knitting it in my hand spun, and this is how far I've come with my traveler shawl. It's a bit scrunched up on the needles, so I'm gonna kind of put it in half and show you like this. It's a relatively dense gauge. I think I could have gone up like half a needle size. I think I'm knitting this on a 4.5mm needle. I think I'm doing size 2 of the pattern, I'm not sure, but she has 2 sizes. I'm doing a fractal spin. I'm using 2 different hand-dyed tops that I have kind of split in half and then split again in quarters and in eighths. And then I'm now, spinning with them just one after the other, relatively in order. And then I'm plying this with a, so this is, I think, a BFL and Corriedale mix. So one of them is Corriedale, the other one is BFL. And then I'm plying it with a Manx Lockdown. I am just, so this is the fiber that is left over. I'm planning on spinning the rest up within this next week. I really wanted to get it finished by the end of May, actually, because the Spin It to Knit It March to May knit along is coming to an end, and I'm I'm not going to be able to finish it, but I would like to finish my spinning so I can then ply, create the rest of the yarn to finish knitting it over the summer. What happened is I have already knit one entire skein into this, and this is my second one. So I've just started the second one right around here. So I think I should be fine with what I've got. I've spun up an entire second, or yeah, I think I spun up the singles like an entire bobbin, and then I applied them onto 2 more bobbins because like obviously I'm plying singles, so that creates a thicker plied yarn, so I need more space for that plied yarn, and that created 2 skeins. I don't know all the like details about meterage and all of that anymore, but I think I kind of created, I mean, apart from the thick and thin of it all, it was kind of a DK2 kind of worsted. The Manx really plumped up in the wash, so that also made it a bit more dense. But yeah, so I think I actually got gauge, or I was close to gauge when I swatched with this. So I think next time I have a yarn that is this thick, I'm going to go up to a needle size of 5. But after having a few problems in the beginning, and like I said, this is not because I don't know how to do it. Like it's not that it is too difficult for me, these techniques. It was just, I was making stupid little mistakes that were, yeah, I think due to a lack of concentration and having so many other thoughts in my head. But now that I've got it kind of going, and I just need to have my like phone on the side and like just cross off each of the rows that I'm doing. I haven't memorized this pattern yet. It is going, and that is everything that I wanted to do for now. I think it'll be so nice, but I'm in no rush to finish it, obviously, because I wouldn't be able to wear it now. Yeah, not very seasonal whip or finished object, but I'm quite enjoying working on this. And so yeah, this is my progress on the Andrea Maury's Traveler Shawl. And I'm gonna be very excited to wear it this autumn. The next and final work in progress is my Sweet Shop blanket. I told you that while I was kind of monogamously knitting, like, or primarily knitting on this jacket, I sometimes felt the need for kind of switching up needle size and going for another whip. And so I chose this one. I'm very slowly knitting on my blankets. I don't have any concrete deadlines for them, but I kind of would love to finish one of them by the end of this year. And I'm thinking this might be it. I want this to be, for now, kind of just laying on the end of our bed. So it's not going to be like queen size or whatever those sizes are. Like, we only have a 140 meter bed anyway. So in Germany, we don't have like these huge beds that sometimes like people in America have anyways. But I mean, we have bigger beds here too, but we just don't have the space for a bigger bed, and we already also don't really need it. So this is going to be kind of for half, like for the bottom half of the bed. This is my goal for now, to create kind of like a day blanket for it. And I have recently I have finished this entire row. These are some of the minis that I've wound to work with them. Some of them are Olivia and Oliver fibers. And then now I am working with a new mini, and I love this awesome, like, colorful touch. And this is by, I think, Das Mondschaf, which is a German hand dyer. And I got this at the Swiss Yarn Festival. And this is what I'm working on right now. And then I'm going to add these for the rest of the row. So imagine, am I going to be able to hold this up? No. This is going to be the next row. but you'll see this in the next episode. I don't want to talk too much about it. I'm doing all the original counts that that Laura Penrose, who's the designer of the pattern, had put into the pattern, so no big modifications there. It's not all straight, like it's not all perfect. Some of the squares are like a bit tilted. I don't care. I love it. It's so perfect. All of these colors really speak to me, and yeah. Let's talk about swatches. I have made a swatch for the book club cardigan by Sari Nordlund. I had applied for that test knit, but I wasn't chosen, so immediately when she released the pattern, I bought the pattern, and then I already had in mind what to use for it. This is the Hillersberg Solje and Explorer Fibers alpaca Surrey lace held together to create this wonderful fabric. I love it. I love the color of it so much. This is kind of how would you say that, like rivaling with my tessellated cardigan. Which one is going to be cast on first? I'm not sure. I love the idea of both of them, but we'll see which one will be cast on first. I haven't blocked this out massively. I had it blocking like with pins, but then kind of took it with me while it was like half wet to show a friend. So I think it should be fine. I went up half a needle size from what Sari used in the pattern. But yeah, not much more to say about this. This is going to be a book club cardigan soon-ish. And we'll see which one of the cardigan plans will get cast on first. So a bit about my sewing. I'm going to show you some fabrics that I recently acquired, and then what I'm planning on making with them before moving on to reflections about my Me Made May experience. I bought this from the My Little Fabric shop. I think it's an European, not sure which country it is from, fabric shop, and I got this cotton kind of muslin style that has bigger checkered like gingham on the one side, and then smaller gingham on the other side. And I'm making a side tie top with this. This is by a pattern by Steph Time, I think. I think it was kind of shown to me on the Explore page on Instagram once, or maybe I think I watched one of her YouTube videos. And then also my friend Anna from Brook Willow Knits made a beautiful quilted version recently, and that one I really loved. But I really want to make a very summery version without the quilting aspect of it, to just have an easy project on the go. I'm actually also thinking about possibly just trying pre-made bias tape to have a really easy project that I can just sew up in a day. So that'll be washed soon now to make the side tie top. Another fabric that I've got a plan for already is this already quilted fabric that is striped on one side, and then it is just plain color on the other side. This is a beautiful kind of ochre colorway, and I really would like to make a second ruby vest with this. I would make a longer version, and possibly when I'm going to Berlin next week, I wanted to hit up a few of the sewing like fabric shops and Selfmade, the yarn shop that I went to in Cologne with a friend, and to see if they have got like these snap buttons, like these buttons that you just press. Maybe if they've got like a brassy like golden color, that would suit this quite nicely, and I would just have to kind of like punch them through the fabric and not make so many ties again, because I've already got to make a few ties for my side tie top. So yeah, I'm thinking either this or possibly just not putting any closing elements on it, but keep it open. That'd be nice as well. But yeah, I want to make one that is about maybe like 5 centimeters longer, and I've got this fabric for that. And then the last fabric I got is actually something I'm not yet feeling kind of equipped enough to work with. And this is a Pointel fabric. This is a cream color, and I really like the Pointel elements of it. I know this is something that like the Scandi influencers and like Petite Knit even wear underneath woolen handmaids quite a lot, and I certainly love that look. I've got a few kind of like store-bought Pointel t-shirts, but I was thinking maybe making my own long sleeve kind of top with this at one point. I'm not yet like feeling confident to knit with such like a kind of bouncy, stretchy like jersey fabric. I'm not sure if I'm using the correct terms, but I guess if you're a sewer, you know why I'm a bit scared of like sewing with this. But I think it was really inexpensive, and I thought if I'm already paying for shipping and I have 2 concrete projects, this is kind of my my wild card for when I feel a bit more sure of my skills and make something with this beautiful fabric. So these are some of my sewing plans. I also have cut a few more patterns, like the actual patterns I've got cut. And I want to do a kind of reflecting on my first year of sewing video relatively soon. I only started with the actual sewing right around, I think, September of last year. But I started my research in May of last year. So my sewing journey, if you want to call it that, has been going for about a year. And it actually started with me seeing a pattern, I think, on Olive clothing. It was actually a side tie top with like a peplum. And I was like, 75 euros. That is quite a lot of money for a top. Maybe I could make that myself. And then I started the investigation and the researching and followed so many sewing accounts, watched so many sewing YouTube videos. And yeah, ever since I've been really kind of excited by the idea. Then I got the machine from my partner's mom, who's not using it anymore. It's a retro Pfaff machine, and I really enjoy working with it. But yeah, let's keep that reflecting for the actual sewing video and move on to my Me Made May reflections. I'm going to keep, I'm not sure which side I've got a bit more space on, but I'm going to put all of my OOTDs, my outfit of the days of my Me Made May 2024 experience on screen, so you can see what I have been wearing. It has been my first year actively participating in this trend. I've actually, the same thing that really, I don't want to say motivated me, because I was motivated with the idea already, but what inspired me with the whole sewing journey and everything, one of these accounts that I wanted to kind of stand out from the crowd was Maya's account from What Maya Made on Instagram. And she had been participating these last years, and she's sewing as well as knitting and spinning some of her clothes. And yeah, she just really inspired me with her makes and her participating in Me Made May. So that was ultimately where I kind of heard about it first. And then with following more accounts that also do sewing, it was just something that I really wanted to participate in myself. And then a few of my friends, namely Marla and Lydia, that I'm hosting the cow with, are also participating this year. And it has just been a lot of fun seeing how differently people approach this kind of this subject or genre, but like how individually awesome these pictures and videos are. And yeah, I have been posting one video a day, one picture a day on my stories, just showing off that I'm actually wearing one of my handmaids. And then I have been doing kind of roundup reels after every week. Not perfectly regularly, but yeah, that was the idea of it. I have realized that I am changing throughout the day sometimes. So sometimes I'm only getting to wear my Me Made outfit like after lunch kind of, because in the beginning, like on a weekend day, I'm wearing my pajamas like right up until we like go to the gym, and then I'm like wearing my gym clothes. And then after like having a shower and going some lunch, then I am like only getting into my Me Made outfit. But apart from that, I hit my goal, my pledge to myself to wear at least one Me Made item every day. And that was such a fun experience. It is almost over. It's just a few more days. I actually have to take a picture of my Me Made outfit today that I'm so proud and happy, like proud of and happy with. And yeah, I just wanted to kind of reflect a bit about seeing myself in those outfits, because my style has changed. I wouldn't say like significantly, but like knitting my own clothes has already added a new kind of like, I don't know how to say this, but like dimension to my styling. And I really was that girl who was just wearing black. I don't know if I just wanted to like blend in with the crowd, or if it also was kind of like my music taste, but I was wearing so much black and just like t-shirt, jeans, sweater, t-shirt, jeans, sweater, jeans, sneakers, always trainers, sometimes boots. But like I was not very adventurous. Like band shirt and jeans, or sweater and jeans, or black t-shirt and jeans. I was rarely wearing any dresses. And then like, I don't know, around 2021, I kind of got a bit more adventurous with like wearing dresses, getting into a bit more colors. I actually bought quite a few stuff, like things that now that I've not had my color season like done professionally, but I've done so many of the online tests and I know what I like on myself better now that I've kind of like theoretically thought about it, that a lot of the colors, like a lavender shade, I like looking at it, but it doesn't really suit me very well, at least in my opinion. And so yeah, I actually got like two like moving boxes full of clothes that don't really fit me anymore. I mean, which isn't a huge deal, because I have been wearing some of my clothes for like 10 years now, and some of them are more new. And yeah, it just changes. Your life situations change. And I feel like I've really come into my own style this last year, these last 2 years maybe. And like just how I like to combine my stuff, even if it doesn't make any sense to anyone else. I have found what I kind of like, and that isn't always the same. Like it isn't like consistent over all these days, but taking a picture of myself and reflecting over that has really been very helpful. And it kind of some of the outfits really stood out. These are kind of my favorite outfits of the month. And then some other days were just a bit more boring, and that is okay too. If I'm just like going to work, I can't be super adventurous and super inspired in all of my outfits, but I realized that I like to be like, I like to feel cool in what I'm wearing, like within my sense of the word, like within what I think is cool for myself. But yeah, I don't know if that's very helpful, but I just realized that they're like these very plain outfits aren't really for me. That black isn't really for me, and I'm trying to move it out a bit more and more. Like I said, I've got these moving boxes that I put in clothes like over the years, whenever I've really liked to regularly move through my closet and like clean it out again, and have like a seasonally changing, because we don't really have a lot of space for it. And now is the time where I take out all my knitwear, wash it once more, dry it, and put in vacuum seal bags to go into the basement, or most of it at least. Like the very thick stuff is going for like the summer. And so yeah, I've been reflecting on that, and I've been realizing what pieces are actually really worth the investment for me, like store-bought pieces, and what other pieces weren't really, and that I'm letting go. I love going to like flea markets to look at stuff myself, even for like decorations and homeware, but then also selling my stuff. I am not one to just like throw it away. I don't know if anyone does that, but obviously I will be asking friends if they want to have a look at it. I will be donating some stuff that I cannot sell anymore. Yeah, obviously all these things I'll try to give them a second chance, a second life. But I have just realized more and more what I really like on myself and what I don't love so much. So that is a great thing, I think. And if that is something, like if that is something that Me Made May can do, like cherishing your Me Mates, realizing how little you actually need, like how many things you're actually wearing and what you're not really wearing, and then maybe gifting them or selling them, giving them a second life, I think that is beautiful. So yeah, let's get to the last thing, the second to last thing. I've actually tried a new craft and I love that. Just wanted to show you, I've done embroidery and I think it is super cool. This we, like I said, did this like special event at the shop, a DIY night. We did a few mini workshops and late night shopping, and I actually participated like very casually in one of the workshops while trying to support my boss who was giving the workshops. And I tried embroidery for the first time and I kind of dig it. It was super fun to do. I like how it came out, and I would like to maybe embroider a handbag, like not a handbag, a project bag, and yeah, give this a few more tries. Like I said, I've been hand quilting, loving that. I'm actually shaking a bit because I need some lunch, so I better get going. So just sharing this super quickly. This is what it is. And then I wanted to share about my reading. I've finished The Paper Palace. Great book. Like in my books, this is a great book. The end, I was like, I would have liked. So this is a spoiler. If you're still reading this, skip a few minutes. I would have loved like a more conclusional end. It's an open end, I would say. And I don't love that all the time. And then a little spoiler alert, like spoiler warning, as well as a kind of content warning on this. There is a few scenes that describe physical and sexual abuse that I found really difficult to read. I don't think all of these, like obviously, is a topic in society that needs to be talked about, and it's not something that I'm like, it shouldn't be in this book, but I didn't really see some of the things that were described, how they helped the story, like how they were adding to the story. They were just difficult to read through. So I'm not really sure on how to explain it best. There was actually one person who was really well, like who really put it well on Goodreads, and I read that and then I kind of realized that I felt the same through reading it. So this is an intergenerational book, but it is mostly kind of about the life of a middle-aged woman, but it also talks about her mom and what she has experienced in a way. And yeah, those experiences were, and her brother, described in a very, yeah, it was really difficult to read through. I'm not really sure how to put it else. Otherwise, I think it's important for these like abuse to be a topic in literature that is talking about and the effects of it to be discussed. But sometimes I do feel like if it's not kind of a vehicle for this story, like if it doesn't help you understand why something is happening, I'm not sure if it's always necessary to be included in like the storyline. I'm not sure if I'm making any sense, but if you've read this as well, did you feel the same way, or like what were you thinking? And would this like keep you from reading the book? Because otherwise I would say so I really liked and enjoyed and wanted to read more of it. Like it was an engaging and interesting book otherwise. But yeah, let me know if that is something you've also felt like before. Otherwise, in really tragic circumstances, the men in my life, namely my partner and my brother, don't seem to know that if there's a new Emily Henry book coming out like a few days after my birthday and I'm asking for it for my birthday, and people keep telling me, yeah, don't buy it for yourself. And I saw a signed copy in a bookshop in Edinburgh and I didn't get it for myself. And people kept telling me like, no, it's your birthday, don't get it for yourself. And then it's the release day and I'm like, when am I getting it? And then after like a week of that release day, I'm asking my partner, it's like, am I actually getting the book? Like, because now it's been a week. I haven't seen my brother, to be fair. I didn't really celebrate my birthday like a big celebration with my family, so I haven't seen him. And he was the one who was supposed to get it for me. And he didn't apparently know about this being a timely, like a pressing thing for me to read Funny Story. So yeah, I have not received the book yet. I asked my partner to talk to my brother because my brother doesn't know that I know that he's giving me the book. Do you know these like family things where someone asks for something and then the partner, like my partner, is kind of managing my wishes with my family? Like he told my mom what I was asking for and then my brother, and like he's trying to overview that I'm not like getting the same book 5 times. I'm not sure if that makes any sense, but tragic event, I have not read the new Emily Henry. I'm super sad about it. But yeah, I hope that it'll arrive in the mail relatively soon. But yeah, those men, they just don't know how important and like pressing it is for me to read it immediately after it's been released. So yeah, in the meantime, I'm reading Bell Hooks' All About Love, New Visions. Bell Hooks is one of my favorite authors, like critically feminist, theoretical, like cultural theorist author of all time. I've read quite a few of her books throughout my like student life, like when I was in university, and so far I've like only read the prologue, the preface, but I can already tell I will love this. I've already marked quite a few passages, and yeah, I just love her thinking. Like I love following her brain kind of materialize thoughts on paper. That sounds very poetic, but yeah, can't wait to read more of this and then to read Funny Story whenever it finally arrives at my doorstep. That makes me sound like such a, I don't know, particular person, but any of you feel the same about one of your favorite authors coming out with a new book and then you wanting to read it immediately? I don't know, this is a stupid question. Obviously, lots of people know how that feels. So yeah, let's hope it'll arrive soon. In the meantime, I hope you're all getting loads of time for your making and a lot of quality time with your makes and people around you that you care for and that love you. And yeah, I hope you're taking care of yourselves. And I hope you're getting loads of knitting time. As always, I'll see you in the next episode. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.